Spoken to Dave Cumberbatch, who's the representative of St. Peter, and now we have Nicholas Alleyne, who's the candidate for St.Michael East. Good night, Nicholas.
Good night to you.
Welcome to Candidate Speaks. I'm sure you're eager to share to the viewers what you plan to do for your constituency, if you're successful at the polls, and I'm sure you want to tell them, start by telling them a bit about yourself. Go ahead and tell them about yourself.
Well, I was born and raised in Nicholas Village, my North South. I went to school at the Belmont Primary School. After Belmont, I went to the Alleyne School. I also went all to the Lodge School.
Lodge School.
I played football for Barbados, in the under 15 up to the under 20. I actually captained the Barbados under 20.
Some athletic ability.
Some athletic ability.
There you go.
And went on to the under 23 and the senior national teams. You know, and playing football for Barbados, I would have traveled across the Caribbean. Went to most of the Caribbean islands. I also represented Benfica as a football club. We now manage that club as the manager of that club. And we would have traveled to as far as Denmark, England, and Guyana. And these travel experiences have given me great experiences to share.
And exposure as well.
And exposure as well.
Yeah, okay. Now Nicholas, you've decided to offer yourself as a candidate. Could you tell me why, what prompted you at this time to jump into the political arena, so to speak?
Well, firstly, I represented the Democratic Labour Party. It's a party that, from small, I've always heard that represented the poor and marginalised. And coming from the constituency of St. Michael East and Licorice Village in particular, you know, I can see firsthand how the policies of the Democratic Labour Party would have benefited many constituents in St. Michael East, but not only in St. Michael East, but across Barbados. So I take this as a good opportunity now. Also, in my line of work, I'm a loans officer at the Barbados Public Workers Credit Union. And, you know, on a daily basis, I interact with many Barbadians across the length and breadth of this island. You know, and I see firsthand a lot of these challenges that they face. You know, so this has also prompted me to offer myself as a candidate for the Democratic Labour Party.
Well, you're a young man, and you do look like a young man, if I dare say so. Growing up in your household, were you conscious that the Democratic Labour Party would have put out a number of policies that would have helped Barbados progress through from 1966 even right up to 2018? Are you satisfied that the Democratic Labour Party has contributed to your own development?
Significantly. I mean, we've had the advent of the whole education. We've
seen
free secondary school education, which along with myself and many of my cousins and siblings, you know, are recipients of that. You know, so I can say certainly that I've seen the benefits of the policies of the Democratic Labour Party.
Okay. Now, Licorice Village, in your area, what are some of the things that you would have noticed happening with the youth? And I'd like, in St. Michael Southeast, are there any parallels to the things that you've seen happening in your own area, coming out of Licorice Village, as well as what is happening in the constituency of St. Michael East?
St. Michael East. Well, I mean, in terms of the youth, there's a slight change in the youth altogether. When I was growing up as a young man in Licorice Village, I mean, a lot of the things that I did as a young person, I find that the youth are not doing those things. You know, so there's no real youth engagement, especially now, especially over the last 5 years. There's been a significant reduction in youth engagement. There's no community activities.
So what are some of the things you think will bring them back, get them together and give them a sense of self-worth and belonging to the community? We
need more community-based activities, more programs. We need to utilize our resource centers across our constituencies more appropriately, or for courses. You know, I find that the resource centers, they close at 4:30 or 4 o'clock, but our communities still have to function beyond that. You know, so we want to have more programs geared towards interaction with the youth, especially the youth at this time.
What are some of the programs that you hope to implement if you're successful in St. Michael East?
Well, certainly I'm looking at the area of youth employment, and in terms of developing entrepreneurship opportunities for the youth. Currently, I'm also the micro-business loan officer at the Barbados Public Workers Credit Union. So certainly I will be pushing entrepreneurship and helping the youth to develop business plans, preparation of financial statements, completion of forms. I've also introduced at the constituency office, and I hope that I will maintain this, is that I will be offering a micro business incubator. You know, where we're offering young persons who are now starting up that you can come to our office, you can use the resources there. We have the computers, the printers, and we're offering at least for the first 6 months, you know, so that you wouldn't have to defer that cost of rent and other overheads. You know, so those are the kind of things that I will be pushing in.
So you have in mind a set of projects that you would get going once you become successful, or once you become the representative of St. Michael East. Okay, that's good to hear. What are some of the things that you think that will benefit Barbados on the whole that you would want to do once you, let's say, become a cabinet minister? Okay, what are some of the things that you would want to do, and I'm talking on a national level, outside of the constituency, in terms of your vision for Barbados if you should become, let's say, a cabinet minister?
Well, certainly in the area of sports, I see sports as another industry that we can look to. I mean, we have so much talented young persons within Barbados, and we see them coming through the primary school system, we see them coming through secondary school, and then they disappear. You know, and I think that if we aggressively go after the sports industry, I mean, there's lots of areas that we can develop employment opportunities. I see Barbados having professional sporting bodies, that in volleyball, that in cricket. You know, we've already seen like the CPL and those things, but we want to do that for all the sports, so that somebody can aspire to be a sports person, and that can be a career. You can earn an income from something like that.
So you're saying more room for private partnership enterprises so that we can help our young people. But let's move off the young people. There's a question that I'm curious about. I'm going to ask you, and I hope it doesn't throw you off too much. I noticed that you, well, most of the comments that I've been hearing from a lot of the candidates are focusing on the youth and so on. And some of them are even focusing on women being gender specific. But I'm concerned about our men. I'm concerned about men in our society. I'm concerned about what plans and policies that we can put in place to assist men, because we tend to focus on perhaps, I don't want to suggest that women are more marginalized than men, but we have a number of young men in our society that are marginalized. So I would want to hear a candidate speak about men. What policies can be put in place to rescue, as it were, our young men, especially if they're prone to a life of crime, so to speak, or deviance. So do you have any plans or any idea how you would want to, let's say, rescue, so to speak, our men?
Well, to speak on that, I would say, you know, we've talked about the decline, especially of our young men, but we must also touch on the decline of the family.
Right.
And I think the family is very important. And if we can build back that family structure, you know, I would see that change, turn around in men. I think also we need more leaders within our society to come forward. And it's not that I don't think that a lot of the young men are going wayward, but I think that we are not highlighting a lot of the positive young men that they're doing up there, you know, and so some of these persons need to come forward and be acknowledged and be recognized.
Do you see room for more leadership training in terms of honing the skills of our young men? Because, like I said, the women can take care of themselves. We organize ourselves much better. But what I personally would like to see is more dedicated policies that would help our young men develop their skills, develop their entrepreneurial capacities. You mentioned sports, which is a good thing, but I'm thinking more of gender-specific policies that would give our young men a sense of pride, a sense of self-worth. And if you could do that, Nicholas, I would be very, very happy to hear, you know, you come up. And I don't expect you to answer me no, but that's something that I would want the candidates to be thinking about, because we need our men and we need our young men in our society. We need them to be positive, because in that way they can look out for the women, and they could, you know, the level of domestic violence would somewhat decrease. Because if we have positive young men, confident young men who understand their self-worth, they're more likely to treat others better. I threw you off there a bit, but I'm going to bring you back on. Tell me about how has the experience been like so far for you campaigning in St. Michael East?
I would say here tonight the experience has been very overwhelming. I am truly thankful to the constituents of St. Michael East, you know, for welcoming me welcoming me into their homes. And you know, I've been embraced by the people of St. Michael East, and every area. I've canvassed the entire area by now, and you know, the reception thus far has been very warm and very, very encouraging, especially to see not just a young man, but a young man from among us.
Yes.
That's what they say. You know,
yes, yes.
he is
one of us.
He's one of us who would have walked with us and who would have endured, and who, you know, who knows the challenges that we face. You know, so I'm very, very happy.
So do you think you have lots of work to do if you become the representative, the MP for the area?
Yeah, I